Hi there, I'm Jean Ritt, and you are watching Southern Charm Realty TV, the place to be to create the real estate experience you can trust and love. Today we're going to be talking about the most important part of the home buying process. I know everybody wonders, where do we start? What's the first step? So if that's the case, you're going to love today's guest. Raymond Andrews, president of Prime Mortgage Group. Morning, Raymond.
Good morning, Jean. Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, no, thank you for being here. So, Raymond, you're an Ocala transplant from Miami.
Yes.
But you're pretty naturalized now, aren't you?
Been here a long time.
How long?
30 plus years in Ocala.
But we're only 39, remember that when we
That's
go?
right.
Yeah,
That's right.
Raymond and I have known each other since, God, high school.
High school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't I introduce you to Dana, your wife?
May have, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So, Raymond is an incredible husband to Dana, who's been a teacher for what,
32 years.
32 years, and has received the Golden Apple Award. And she's a wonderful lady. He's a great dad. He's got 2 grown-up children, and he's a bit of a salty dog. Loves the water. And he's an expert residential mortgage lender. Raymond, thank you again. You have 26 years experience in the mortgage industry.
Right.
And it's all on the banking side. So what inspired you in our golden years of 39 to go on your own and start Prime Mortgage Group?
Great question, Jean. Thank you. Over the years, I've always been associated with a large regional bank. And that was a great experience, and I'm thankful for the opportunity that afforded me. But after the financial crisis, the large banks added a lot more oversight to our transaction in real estate lending, which meant that we were trying to pack 10 to 15 more tasks into the same 30-day process, which created more oversight, which caused us to start missing closing dates, missing contract dates, and so forth. So what happened is Carrie Cribb and myself were given the opportunity to start Prime Mortgage Group.
Okay. Those were tough years, weren't they?
Very tough.
It was tough on all of us, all sides. I mean, I know you had realtors screaming at you, why can't we get this done? And you're going, screaming at your processors, why are we so far behind? And
right.
That was tough. There was a lot of unrest during
right.
that period.
Prime Mortgage Group, we are a licensed residential mortgage lender in Florida, which means we handle the process from start to finish. We originate the loan, process the loan, underwrite the loan, approve the loan locally, and then we actually prepare the documents and fund the transaction. And this affords us more control.
Exactly. Well, and that's why I was going to say why Prime, and you kind of answered that, for me. And being a realtor and a broker and having all my agents, we've done, quite a few transactions together, and everybody has been extremely happy as far as the realtor, but our customers are what really rave about your process and being local and being able to talk to you. So I commend you on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's important in the process.
Thank you.
So, okay, well, it kind of explains. I have been wondering why you did that, Raymond. Why you, both of us are, later in life business owners, and I'm loving it. I really am loving creating this stuff. So the biggest question we get when we see first-time home buyers, they're not sure where to start. So they want to call us, and they want to go look at houses. And, we try to direct them back. They think, go find a house, and then we'll talk to a lender. Well, you and I both know that's putting the horse before the cart, because it's very disappointing. They see this product, but then we talk to you, and you're going, you have to do this product. So if you could kind of explain the process, of where a first-time home buyer should start, and then what you'll need from them, and kind of give them tips.
Sure, Gene. The first thing they should do when they're interested in acquiring a home is to go speak to a residential mortgage lender first. At that interview, the loan officer or myself or one of my representatives would interview that person and gather all the data that's used to qualify them for the mortgage or the loan.
So give examples of that data.
The data would include credit, their credit score, their credit report. We would also inquire about their employment history, their assets, and then also the budget, which is most important.
Right.
A lot of times you look at what you want and what you can afford, may be two different things.
Exactly, and that's why we try to send them to you guys first.
Right.
But go back to like job related. What do you want to see as far as job? Is it the time they're on the job? Is it the pay? Kind of give that example.
That's a very broad range. The most basic information is to have at least a 2-year experience in your job or in your field.
Okay.
For college graduates, we typically will take them right after they're in their area of expertise.
Okay.
So they can afford a home or purchase a home fairly quickly. But typically we're looking for 2 years employment experience with that same employer or in their field.
So, I do a lot of farms. I sell a lot of farms. And most of my customers are like you and me. They're either self-employed or they live on assets. So what do you want from someone who, say, does not have a W-9?
Typically, again, we're looking at the self-employment experience. They would need to at least have a 2-year self-employed experience background, at least filing at least 1 year's tax returns.
Okay, so you only need 1 year's tax return of the self-employed, but 2 years experience.
Yes.
Okay, got it. All right. Well, and here's something though, you and I have both seen, and we've sat down with some of my customers, self-employed people don't always look like they make money. So would you recommend that before they go shop alone, that at least have a couple of years profit?
Yes.
Showing.
We will use the income that's reported to qualify that borrower.
Okay.
So if that self-employed person tends to write off a lot of expenses and show a very low net income,
right,
that's not going to help the situation.
Okay.
So we do run into that quite a bit. There is some add backs that we can find in the tax return that we can add back, but typically they need to show a profit.
Okay, perfect. See, and that's great advice because, it's not always the first-time home buyers that have the questions. It's, people with, not your traditional job.
Right.
Or W-2.
Right.
So, what are some other tips you can give the home buyer through this process?
I would recommend that everyone should check their own credit. And you can go to annualcreditreport.com and get a free credit report.
Wow. Okay. I didn't even know that. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I just learned something new. Annualcreditreport.com. Okay.
And you get it free from all 3 repositories, which is Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, for free once a year.
Okay.
And use that as a
How
gauge.
close is that? I mean, is it true to what you guys are going to pull?
It won't give you a score, but
Okay.
you can check the data that's there.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm glad I asked that question.
Yeah.
Because everybody's going to assume that they're going to get a score. But this just gives you all the lenders or vendors that you're working with, right?
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. Oh, that's a good one. Thank you very much. Really makes a difference. So speaking of that, I'm kind of going to jump around, sorry.
Sure, that's okay.
Because you brought it up. So we've talked about the 3 credit lenders. And in the news, what was it, 6 months ago? That
Right around Hurricane Irma.
Oh, okay. So time flies.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you and I have talked about, we've done some stuff, but the breach, the information breach for
Equifax.
That was huge. They said it was one of the most unprecedented because of the amount of information they got. And you've been so proactive because it will affect, what,
145 million people were affected by the Equifax breach. And what happened with Hurricane Irma, a lot of the media was concentrating on that catastrophe, that the Equifax breach was kind of swept under the rug. And not enough people found out about what exactly is going on. 145 million people have been affected by this breach, which means that their Social Security number, their birth date, where they've lived for the last 10 years is all out there
Oh my
to
God,
be
that's
had.
so scary,
Very
especially with all the
scary.
cyber crimes going on nowadays.
Very scary. And what Prime Mortgage Group has been doing recently is we've been going to places of business, contacts that we know, and giving a short seminar on how to defend yourself against the Equifax breach. And basically there's a couple steps you can do. First and foremost, pull your credit from annualcreditreport.com, and then also you can freeze your credit with each bureau, with TransUnion, with Equifax, and with Experian.
So when you freeze it, what does that do?
That means that no one can pull your credit.
Okay.
They'll get a message basically saying your credit has been frozen.
Okay.
And the person that freezes it gets a PIN, a personal identification number that's given to you by the bureau, and you can freeze and unfreeze it at any time.
Oh.
So if you're not in the market to buy anything large where you
Right.
need to pull your credit,
Right.
it's a good idea to go ahead and freeze it.
That's like, oh, see, again, I've learned something new. Shelby, my assistant's here. You're taking notes on this, right? Because I think we need to probably do some updating around the office with that stuff. Thank you.
Well, what Prime Mortgage Group has been doing is we're actually putting together an event where we're going to invite the community to give out this short information so that everybody can be protected in defense against this catastrophe.
Have you seen anybody who's gotten caught up in it yet?
No, we have seen people that have experienced identity theft or some sort of fraud,
Right.
but not associated with this breach
Okay.
as of yet.
So when we get done, we'll post behind the show the dates for that, because
Sure.
we'd like to get as much of the public to you as
Yeah.
possible, because people don't realize how important the credit score is in the home buying process.
Right,
I mean,
right.
it's incredible. So great information. Now that you've enlightened our audience on how to protect themselves, where do you see the current mortgage rates at now, and where do you see them going in the future?
Rates right now are basically determined by the borrower based on their credit score, the loan to value of the property that you're buying. And
So when people see, the credit or the rates advertised everywhere, that's kind of
typically what's
base?
advertised is the best rate possible for the perfect borrower.
okay. Oh, that's a great point to have, because everybody comes to us and say, well, we see the rates at 3.85, but yet they get quoted a 4.2.
Correct.
And so by again, credit is a big determinant, and buying power, right?
And also the program might
Okay.
have an
Okay.
impact on the rate as well. Prime Mortgage Group, we're a full service lender, so we offer all the programs that are out there. You've got your conventional, which is basically the fixed rate, and your ARMs, adjustable rate mortgages. We do FHA, which again, I'll just mention that Prime Mortgage Group recently, like within the last 2 weeks, have been designated as an FHA DE underwriting.
way.
Yeah, so
Really?
we approve and
So you can keep everything in-house again.
we keep everything. We can do an
That's
FHA loan
amazing.
in-house, which is great. We also offer USDA, which is, yes, the beef people, United States Department of Agriculture, has a program for 100% of the purchase price, which has some caveats that go with
Right.
it. The house also has to qualify.
Right.
Has to be outside the city limits.
Right.
Certain counties, the whole county qualifies, but in some areas it doesn't.
And with Marion County, with us being a large county and a small city limits, you find there's quite an opportunity out there for the
Right.
USDA
Lots
buyer.
of lots of product out there.
Would you recommend that for your first-time home buyers?
A lot of first-time home buyers, USDA, if they want to live outside the city of Ocala or Gainesville,
Right.
is typically a good choice.
Okay. Is there any prepayment penalties? Is there anything that they need to watch for? Because again, a lot of your young customers are going to start moving up.
Yeah, since the financial crisis, there was a Dodd-Frank Act that came out that eliminated a lot
Did you
of
see
the...
my eyes roll on that? I was like holding my breath.
The Dodd-Frank Act came out and eliminated a lot of predatory lending issues that were part of the problem.
Right.
And again, prepayment penalties and exorbitant rates after a teaser rate had been started are long gone. So most of the, actually all the products that we represent do not have any prepayment
Excellent.
penalties.
All right, that's wonderful to hear. Okay, so finish with, I'm sorry.
As far as rates go,
yeah.
Right now, depending on the product, we're sitting at anywhere from just below 4% to about 4 3/4, which is a great rate and is very affordable for most Ocala and Gainesville people.
You know, in the news, they've been talking about it for the last 2 years. Oh, the rates are going to go up. Our economy's getting better. You know, we've kind of been holding, you know, it's almost like a false sense of, you know, when's that going to happen? And the feds don't move on it. So we've had a really fabulous 2 years of being able to keep these affordable rates. So do you see that going up anytime soon? Or?
What we expect going forward, and typically you're in the 12 to 18 month range, is a slight increase, you know, based on what happens in the news. You know, again, the international news affects mortgage rates as well as national news. And a good general rule to apply is that good news is bad news for mortgage rates, and bad news is good news for mortgage rates.
Wait a minute, say that again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good news, like say unemployment is the lowest it's ever been.
Right.
Helps the economy.
Right.
Which means that the rates would, basically the bonds would be sold at a higher amount.
Okay.
Which would, I mean, a lower amount, which would increase the rates.
Okay.
And bad news, which means there's something bad happening in the economy or something bad happening in the world news, would scare people and move money from, say, the stock market into the bond market, which would drive the prices high on the security, which would drive the rates low. So good news is bad news. Bad news is good news.
Got it.
Yeah.
I have to remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the way you did that. So we're seeing good news. Well, bad news, but good news.
It's very going to be very up and down. Our rates fluctuate every day, just like the stock market. And again, depending on what's happening, is going to dictate. But like I said, we see foreseeably in the next 12 months to have a range of about 0.5 to 3/4%.
Up.
You know, up.
Okay.
Yes.
So as a realtor, I'm going, now's the time to buy. It's not just a good time to buy, it's a great time to buy. Would you agree with that?
Yes, both the markets that we serve in Central Florida right now, it's a great time to buy. The National Association of Realtors, which you know puts out what's called the Affordability Index.
Yes.
And what that means is that it's gauged on a number, which is 100.
Right.
And 100 means that the person living in that community that has a median income can afford the median home in that same community.
And our medium is
we're way above 100 in both Alachua and Marion counties.
Is our average home price is 139 in Marion County now, which has moved up since 2 years ago. It was at 129. So in roughly 2 years, we've jumped $10,000 for our average home. And
again, to the average person that's paying $1,000 to $1,200 a month in rent, can buy $150,000 home and be
comfortable with the
payment.
And that's the biggest thing, because a lot of our customers say, well, we can spend $150, but we're comfortable with that payment, and so or the payment of $120.
Right.
So it's not just what you can buy, it's where you're comfortable with your monthly payment.
Right, and that's part of the counseling and the interview process that we have. We want to make sure that borrower is comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, and again, some of them do want to go a little higher.
Yeah.
But again, we can gauge that up front. and give you that information
Right.
so that you understand what range they need to be in.
Well, and it does help us because then, now we can pull up the product that is appropriate to them.
Right.
And they're not disappointed one way or the other. They're happy, And that's the thing is, people get all excited and, oh, let's go. But it's like, no, you need to go talk to a lender first because your buying power is everything. And again, this knowledge that you're providing and that we're, talking about is invaluable to them, to do this process as painless as, as it can be. Because shopping for homes is emotional. It's the most money anybody's ever going to spend.
Typically, it's the largest
Yeah.
transaction any one of us will make in our lifetime.
And it's emotional because it's a roof over your head, And so we want the process to be as smooth as possible and take away some of those wrinkles. So Raymond says, and Jean says, it's a good time to buy right now. So if you're looking or wanting to start the process, now is a great time to jump in our market. So that's really cool. Sorry about that. Okay, notes. Got to go back to the notes because I want to make sure that I don't leave anything out as far as, getting that information out there. Is there anything you want to add?
I think we covered a majority of what's needed. Like I said, it's most important that that borrower gets with a lender as quickly as possible and get assessed.
Right.
That interview with that lender, like Prime Mortgage Group, is very important. So that they're not spinning their wheels, not wasting your time, not wasting their own time, and getting their hopes up to be knocked down.
That's light bulb moment with the internet. And that was our first show. We talked about all the information that's out there, and that's why we're doing the show is, people have a plethora of information out there, but they don't know how to disseminate it. And it kind of makes it tougher on them because they have enough knowledge to be dangerous, but not enough knowledge to be prosperous. Does that make sense? So we compete online for everybody's business. 90%, 98% now of all people start shopping online for their home. Well, we're seeing the lenders out there. How are those online lenders affecting, what you guys are doing locally? And could you give us some good and bads as far as, what works best for that customer?
Yeah, the good thing is that the information is there.
Right.
You can go out on the internet and literally shop anything and everything. But it's a good place to get educated.
Right.
In my business, that the internet will not be as critical with the situation at hand. And again, every borrower is different.
Right.
Every borrower that walks through our doors and we talk to is different from the previous one. Everyone has a different set of variables that affect their lifestyle.
Right.
And the computer will not differentiate
Exactly.
in that.
And that's my point. Or there's a problem. They never meet their lender. Everything's done by the computer or on the phone, which for some people is fine, right? But for the average person, they're giving you a lot of personal information, a lot of critical information, and they don't do this very often. So it's not like shopping on Amazon.
Right.
Correct.
So we add that personal touch. Again, we counsel when needed. The initial interview happens. Say there's some bad information out there, and again, bad things happen to good people over the years, and there's nothing you can do about that.
Well, and I have to tell you guys, Raymond is. They are incredible as far as counseling and helping. And I know this firsthand.